How many times do you get change from $1.00 and leave it or put it in a pile only to forget about it? Most people dislike having change because it's heavy and clunky, preferring to spend dollars or use credit/debit cards. If that sounds like you, it might be time to rethink your idea of money. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Though a few pennies don't make a big difference, one man saved up for 4 to 5 years and cashed out to make a killing. It's time to hear his story and the benefits of saving whatever change or money you can. Keep reading to find out how much cash he got. One man walked into a bank, rolling a big dolly behind him. As it squeaked and squealed, everyone stared at him. Still, he kept walking and finally came up to the teller's counter with a smile on his face. The teller looked in disbelief, asking how many there were. This man had saved pennies for 4 to 5 years and just picked them up from the street. He had no idea yet, but that effort resulted in a fortune, and it was all for him. Arthur Anders was a 73-year-old who worked with the Jackson School Board. Anders started collecting pennies from the street as a hobby, but it turned into an obsession and all-consuming hobby with time. The moment Anders picked up that first penny, he never dreamed he might continue grabbing them for the next 4 to 5 years. However, he soon realized that his penny pile was growing, making him more obsessed over time. He felt compelled to believe that those pennies were a God-given gift. Therefore, he chose to stop spending any pennies at all. Anders also made sure that the change he got from a cash purchase contained 3 pennies. It was a quirky habit, but with time, it grew to be something more. His friends and family were used to this behavior, though the amount he gathered was staggering. School children came to his class with handfuls of pennies to hand over. However, Anders had principles. He never let anyone, even his wife and kids, give pennies without getting compensation. Did he pay them for their pennies? Anders collected pennies for 4 to 5 years until he had filled up 15 5-gallon water jugs. There were so many, and he couldn't count them. He believed he had 100,000 or more, but he didn't know. Still, he was about to learn. Throughout the years, Arthur continued to collect all the pennies he could. With time, he ended up filling 15 5-gallon water jugs, and they only contained pennies. He might have gone on collecting them and keeping them if it wasn't for a problem he encountered. As he was renewing his home affairs, he ended up feeling devastated. What happened? If Anders had had his way, he might have kept the collection and picked up pennies for years to come. However, life threw a curveball. Since he had a small fortune, he needed the collection covered with house insurance. The company turned it away, and so did many others. When Anders went to renew his home insurance, he learned that the company couldn't cover the penny collection. Reluctantly, he chose to visit the bank, cashing in his prized possession. Anders really didn't know how much the collection was worth or how many pennies he had. He speculated and remembered reading once about a coin collection that gave the owner a small fortune. Which coins are more valuable than others? Specifically, coins made with precious metals, copper, palladium, platinum, silver, and gold, fluctuate in value with time. Generally, though, they're more valuable as they age. Typically, coins made of base metal have little worth, such as aluminum. This is especially true if the government that issued the coins exists no more. What about Arthur's coins? Anders paused for a moment and said he wasn't exactly sure how many there were. If he had to guess, he'd say about 500,000 little copper pennies. The woman was speechless and said they couldn't count them for him while laughing. Anders laughed a bit and pleaded. He knew it was crazy, but this was a dear collection and had to be cashed out. He said if it were up to him, he'd keep them forever. The woman decided to call a manager. Once the teller called for the manager, he arrived quickly. As he walked out to see what was going on and who caused the ruckus, his face lit up because he saw Anders. He actually knew this man well. Anders was a loyal and longtime customer who never gave anyone problems. Instantly, the manager wanted to help. He claimed that they value everyone who comes in, but they were happy to assist Arthur with his endeavors. Arthur was so happy and asked his friends to help him bring in all the containers one at a time. The employees gathered anxiously to see the first 5-gallon container get counted. It took about 5 hours to put the pennies through the bank's coin counting machine to reveal the sum. Throughout his 4 to 5 years of collecting pennies, Anders had saved $5,136.14. For those who want to know, that equals roughly $114.14 each year. Anders knew just how to use the money he received. He had just gotten a dental bill and wondered how he could afford to pay it. Just as the expensive bill hit him, he found the money he needed. Was it a happy coincidence? Anders collected those pennies as a symbol of faith and not greed. Because he was being looked after by God, or whatever you believe in, he kept the faith. His hobby turned into a reminder of how much those little things matter. Overall, it seems that Anders' patience and consistency paid off for him. He used the pennies as a reminder to pray and be faithful to God, but he got an extra bonus to his income so that he could pay a bill. People say that the world and God works in mysterious ways. For Arthur Anders, that motto is very true. Just look at the results from his small penny collection. Who could have thought that a penny a day, or a bit more, could have such a profound effect on Arthur, his family, and the bank employees? It might be wise to consider building a spot for extra change. You might not go to such extremes, but every penny can help. You never know when you might need a bit of a boost to your finances, and coins have worth too.